Shinzo Abe, a third-generation politician, first taking office as Prime Minister in 2006. Abe is the first Japanese government leader born after the Second World War. During his first term, scandals surrounded his cabinet, support rate dropped as low as 28%, and the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, or the LDP, suffered a major loss in the upper house election in 2007. He resigned soon after, citing poor health and saying his presence was hindering the passage of essential bills. He was blamed for creating the so-called revolving door of prime ministers, 6 leaders in 6 years, until his second term began in 2012. Ironically, he had since become the longest-serving prime minister in Japanese history. Experts say the reform of multi-seat electoral districts and changes to campaign finance rules weakened the traditional factional influences in the LDP. Abe secured an unchallenged leadership in the ruling party. He gained public support with promises of an economic recovery. The so-called Abenomics was based on 3 arrows of monetary easing, fiscal stimulus and structural reforms. The public was desperate to crawl out of the prolonged deflation from the earthquake and tsunami that devastated the eastern coast of Japan. Corporate sentiments improved and Nikkei stock average made a steady recovery, more than doubling to over 23,000 in 2020 since he began his second term, despite inertia from the 2008 global recession. Analysts say Abe was cunning in balancing economic achievements, social welfare schemes, and aggressive diplomacy to boost Japanese exports, which maintained public support, while forcefully passing a number of unpopular security and defense-related bills. Tens of thousands have taken to the streets demanding him to step down. There was an anti-nuclear power demonstration in 2014, followed a year later by protests over so-called war legislations in 2015, and favoritism scandal in 2018. But despite these, he managed to win in elections and maintaining a clear majority in both the upper and lower houses. In 2017, after President Donald Trump pulled the U.S. out of the Trans-Pacific talks, Abe tried to take the lead in the negotiations. He also tried to build stronger trade cooperations with China and another free trade agreement in the Asian Pacific, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Although Abe continued to stress the importance of the Japan-US alliance, the country steadily increased its defense arsenal, reducing its reliance on the US military. Abe's plan to revise Article 9 of Japan's pacifist constitution and increase its military budget raised concerns both at home and abroad. With the COVID-19 pandemic, analysts say the fruits of Abenomics have been considerably reduced, raising debate over Abe's legacy. With economic recovery still stagnant, many unsolved issues with neighbors, and relations with the US not as strong as before, constitutional revision has not made any progress. Japanese media say with all these challenges, Abe's successor might be drawing the short straw. Terence Teoshima, CGTN, Tokyo.